series on basic core activation. So if you remember from part 1, we are thinking of our core as being like a box. So the lid of our box, which we talked about in part 1, is the diaphragm cutting across our trunk here. In this video, we are going to talk about all the walls of the box. So in the back, we have the multifidus muscle, and then wrapping all the way around is the transverse abdominis. So these muscles have a pretty big job to do anyway, but especially when we're pregnant. As the belly stretches and grows, we need all the support we can get from the walls of the box so that we're still able to do our daily tasks without feeling unstable. So we're going to talk first about the multifidus muscle. This muscle has 2 different jobs. So one is for movement. It helps with bending the spine, bending to the back, but the more important function for core activation is that the multifidus muscle stabilizes the spine before we move any of our limbs, our arms or our legs. So you would think that when you reach your arm out, for example, that the first muscle you activate would be in your shoulder. But actually we found that the multifidus muscle kicks in to stabilize the spine before you move any arms or legs. So I'm going to show you how to find your multifidus muscle first so that we can practice activating it. So I'll turn around for you. What we're going to do here is find a spinous process, or one of the bumpy parts of our spine that sticks out right in the middle. It doesn't matter which one you have your finger on, as long as it's in your lower back. So you're going to put your finger right on that bumpy part of your spine, and then you're going to scoot your finger maybe 1 fingertip length to either side, and you're going to push right into that muscle. So it doesn't matter which side of your spine you're poking into because you have these muscles on both sides. So I want you to keep your finger right on that muscle, and I want you to reach your arm out. So you might feel that muscle contract or kind of jump into your fingertips as you're trying to push down on it. So let's reach out again, and before you notice your shoulder muscles working, you should feel your multifidus muscle working. So let's try that again. Reaching out forward, I can feel those muscles in my back kick on before I feel the muscle in my shoulder. So the second muscle that we're going to talk about is the transverse abdominis. So a lot of people compare this muscle to a corset because it wraps all the way around our waist, and it really does cinch the waist in and give us a lot of support. So we are going to feel for this muscle laying on our backs first. So go ahead and join me laying on your back, keeping your knees bent. So what I want you to do first is feel for your hip bones. So we call this point the ASIS, but it's just that point right at the front of your hip. So there's one on each side. I want you to find that bony part of your hip right in the front. And then I want you to walk your fingers in towards each other, maybe about an inch on each side. And then you're going to dig in right there, okay? So our next step here is going to be to draw our belly button in towards our spine. So that's a cue that you might have heard in yoga or Pilates, but it works really well for activating your TA. So you're going to pull your belly button in towards your spine, and as you do that, you'll feel that muscle contract and kind of push into your fingertips, okay? So pull in, feel that muscle contract, and relax. Pull in, and relax. Pull in, and relax. So just like we found in our last video, this has a lot to do with breathing. So as that diaphragm is moving up and down, the transverse abdominis is contracting and relaxing at the same time, okay? So next we are going to sit up. So I'd like you to sit either like this, sit in a chair, sit cross-legged, it doesn't matter, as long as you're not leaning back. I just want your core to be supporting you upright. So now we're going to wrap our hands around our waist. So now instead of just drawing the belly button backwards, we are going to draw our entire abdomen in. So that's the action of the transverse abdominis that pulls our stomach in. So hands around your waist, take a deep breath, and then pull your stomach in as you exhale. Inhale, and again. So you may notice some similarities as in the first video when we were working on our diaphragm. So as that diaphragm comes down and pushes on the abdomen, your abdomen will expand to the sides. And then you're going to create a contraction of your transverse abdominis that will cinch in the waist as the diaphragm comes back up and out of the way. So let's try that one more time. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to cinch the waist all the way around. Perfect. So now we know how to combine using our diaphragm and our transverse abdominis. So in part 3, we are going to talk about the final part to our core, which is the pelvic floor. So this is kind of like a sling, the bottom of the box, that holds all of our abdominal contents up. So thank you for joining me today. Make sure you check out thefitnewmom.com for more tips on having a healthy